It's time for Contessa's Court with Wanda Julian. Wanda owns, creates, and runs 7 magazines. Each magazine is focused on health, beauty, and luxury. Her business motto is to share beauty and goodwill with the world. Now, it's time for the show. Contessa's Court.
Hi everybody. We have a cat. Hi everybody. It's Wanda. Don't be surprised if there is a cat or two that comes on board. You know how it is with a house full of cats. Let's welcome our guest, Simon.
Good morning. Well, morning here, afternoon for you guys, isn't it?
Hey. Yeah, yes, it is afternoon. It's just a little afternoon. I have a cat right here that wants all of the attention, of course, right now.
Yeah, that's your cats.
So tell us here, let me get the questions out. Can you share with our listeners a little about yourself and your business?
Okay, myself, let's see, been a school teacher over many years, outdoor education, instruction, phys ed and science, and always had great enjoyment of being out in nature and the bush and playing and all that sort of thing, which led me into the outdoor ed. And then some years ago, I was introduced to flower essences, and they were called the Californian range. So each of the essences, flower essences and everything, they all seem to have specific names because they come together in a group. Anyway, I read what I believe to be the greatest book on flower essences anywhere, and that is Flower Essences Vibrational Remedies by Garudis. And what makes this book extraordinary is the way in which they went through it, and they've gone down through not only what the essence will do for people, it also mentions for plants, and it also mentions how you can use them for animals, but also what it did was the karmic background of these essences. And when I first read it, it took my breath away. You're looking back and you're seeing these essences were used, like dandelion, a simple flower in somebody's backyard, had a revered use in Lemuria, in Egypt, in Greece, and in other areas as they developed all the way through. So that started my fascination with flower essences. And then as a result of the essences, they inspired me to open up to energetic healing and the making of pyramids. And that all went on hold for a while. And I'd moved into around in the country. I'd traveled around a little bit and then came still. And then I was inspired again to leave all of those essences behind. I had some excellent, some fabulous experiences with them. And then some years ago, I was just, it was like a ringing in my head, collect an essence of. And that was the first one. It was pine cone. And I couldn't get this out of my mind. It plagued me for days and days and days. So I went off and got one of those. And then I found sometime later, I got some information about it, intuitively writing it down. I'm sort of sitting there going, what's this about? Blah, blah, blah. And then I realized, okay, there's more to this. And then I got a series of the same sort of thing, these impulses, collect this one, collect this one, collect this one. And it was only after I collected that I got an understanding of the essences, bar one. There's one that wattle. And I had the inspiration to get it, and I'd driven past this place one day, and this massive wattle tree is standing there, and I'm going, that's the one, that's where I'm getting it from. But I started getting all this information about the wattle, and I couldn't hang on, this is different. Every other one, I didn't learn anything about them until after I'd collected. And it wasn't until the moment that I understood. So I went in and I made the connection with the trees. So these are all, actually, they're not flower essences. They're essences from trees that flower. And so this makes them vastly different. And they are a step up. They are something else incredibly different from any other form of essences that are around. And I'll mention that. But anyway, I went and made the union with the tree, and that was the thing. That was when I noticed, boom, I got my childhood flashed in front of me. A specific time, and it was about a wattle tree that we used to have in our backyard that I had entirely forgotten about. I hadn't thought about this thing in years, and we used to play on this thing all the time. Got us up on the roof in the garret, got us into heaps of trouble. Endless pleasure and joy, and this just flooded me. I was in tears and on my knees. It's just like, whoa. So there was a distinction with them. And what I found, so I'd collected these essences, and I had 9 in all. There was no, after I got the 9th one, there was no go and get this, go and get that, nothing like that. I did need to get essences of each of the directions, north, south, east, and west, the elements, fire, water, air, and earth. And for a long while I had these, and I didn't know. I was saying, I'm sitting there going, right, I got these essences, I've written them down, but there's a collection of them. There's got to be some kind of association. There's got to be some way in which they're linked. And I didn't know what it was. So I was sitting off at a what would be called a psychic fair here, where practitioners and people selling crystals and doing readings and so on all gather for one of these gala days. I'm sitting there in a place, and it's a very quiet day throughout. And I had 2 pyramids, like this one here, if you can see that.
Wow.
All right, so that's this one's a 60 centimeter, and I had another one, an 80 centimeter, and I laid one over the top of the other. So there's a boundary, a sort of this space, and I just started playing, and I found, wow, this goes here, this goes there, this goes there, and I found the relationship between these each of the essences, where they're located, what they do. And what it told me is this collection of 13 in all are connected to the pyramids, and they have the information of the pyramids because they are the records of nature, which is essentially the pyramid being the house of nature, or the house of fire, or fiery house. What I also found is, once I started organizing it, this symbol, this is their organization, if I can get it in the right spot.
Oh, wow.
That's how they come together. Now, if you note here, that is just like the symbol of the Order of Melchizedek. And so I'm sitting there, I'm awed by this alone. I'm like, oh, how's this? And then with their use over the time, I've come to find that they're not your average, like I say, they're not your average essence. For example, with the bark flower essences, you'll have the rescue remedy. And I believe it's made up of 5 different essences. And Bark, in his description, when he first looked at it, he said, right, this one will do this, and it'll take care of this part of it. So the anxiety or panic or whatever one's feeling at the time when they need to take the rescue, this will look after that, this will look after that, this will look after that. So it has the combination of these 5 frequencies are working away to alleviate the symptoms of what's taking place. Now, after a while, I found all of a sudden, boom, try this as a blend. Put these together, and what takes place is, so I got ones that are a 4 combination blend. Most of the blends are 5 combination. There's an 8 combination, and there are more to come. But the thing is, the result is a frequency that has no trace of any of the constituents. These are alchemical essences. And they've come forward now because of the time that we're in. Their origins stem back to Lemuria and beyond. The trees, there's, let's see, 6 of them only found in Australia, I'm pretty sure. The fern tree is Australia, New Zealand, other parts, but the pine, which is the unifier of all, is Pinus radiata, which is found worldwide. So that kind of makes sense, that this thing that unifies so many of the others would come together. So, for example, one of the combinations works on, well, there's 2 aspects, two combinations that work on the astral aspect. So within us, the 4th layer, so if we come to the heart level, the 4th chakra, come out to the 4th layer, that's our astral body. It seems like such a small thing, it's a bandwidth, generally speaking, like this. However, it expands beyond. It'll give us contact to the planets. It'll give us contact to so many different things. And we're moving into this era where everything is opening up so much. And we find that if the adage that says that we are created in the same manner and force and cause of the universe, then we have universal structure within us. Us, me, I've got to forget is not just this. It is the energetic component as well, of course. And that is far more vast than I'd ever realised. And these essences have awakened me to that. I think I mentioned to you in one of our earlier chats, for 3 days I was walking around at work on loopy as, didn't know what was going on because I could feel the planets of our solar system. It was like they were zinging around. They were in the presence of the place. Ethereally, I wasn't, but I'm sitting there smacking myself and everything, going, what's going on, and wondering what's happening. There's a blend that will touch the light body, the I am body. Paper bark, one of the Australian beautiful tree. Big, just imagine, I don't have a photograph of that one.
Can I ask you a question real quick?
Certainly, yes.
What is an essence used for?
Good. Excellent question, yes. So essentially it is the frequency of the devic orders of the plants and an aspect of the plant themselves that transfers that vibration into the essence. So, for example, paper bark, it works on soul contracts. Soul, so that's your contract for your soul expression, your life, the things that are important to you. Soulmate, twin flame. It helps clear karmic connections. It helps cut ties, release and let go. That's one of its main things, but it also it works very much not only through there, as we all know, as we progress and we move, we're moving this stuff out of our DNA. That has an influence on our family and even our genetic line. These things move back. So these essences work very much on the bodies themselves and the DNA frequencies. So it makes it, it initiates and helps strengthen codes that have already been downloaded. It'll help download codes for particular things that will, like gifts and abilities, that too. So if you're a healer, for example, and you start, I want to understand my healing ability more, paper bark. And also because it moves its way back as a therapist, you could use this. This is a great regression because within the genetic lineage, we have our own incarnations all the way through. So we can move back through those lines and remove these tensions and everything else that have been so prevalently brought up in these times, so high energetic. Wattle, that's childhood. And so one of its main things is, see, as a child, we'll sit there and as an adult, we'll look at kids and go, look at them. They're so happy because they're playing around and everything else. And the reality to the child is, no, they're happy and they're playing. They're not playing and that's making them happy. They are joyous and they are playing. They don't look at a reason to justify what they do. They're far more spontaneous. And we have that within us, but we condition that out of us. So it starts reversing the idea that I don't have to do because I'm doing, and that's that. So it brings us more back into that spontaneity of playfulness, and in the so doing, it brings up the things about our childhood and it helps burn them out. Now, as we bring these things up and we're dealing with them, they move out through the aura. As they move through the aura, they burn. Our aura is exactly the same as the Earth's atmosphere. A meteor enters, and if it's in the right angle, it'll burn up and it won't impact on the Earth. Same with us. It will burn out and then it'll leave an ash. That ash will fall down to our feet, to the chakra down below there, and it will draw back up and it'll move its way through, and it will be the salve that heals those things or assists in the process. So we've burnt them out using them. So our fiery aspect of the aura purifies these things And then, so it assists in those processes. Also with wattle, it is dealt with because you look at the flower on it, a nice yellowy color. And if you have a close look at a wattle flower, they look very much like a sun. They stimulate the sun centers within our cells. Our heart is associated with the sun. Children up until the age of 7 generally live directly from the heart. They're not thinking so much. It's around about the age of 7 that concrete thought now starts to come in, which means, 1 and 1 equals 2, 3 and 3 equals 6, so on and so on, so they can understand that process. And using that as an example, it helps with maths. So the understanding of it, we've made the error thinking that maths is this intellectual thing alone, that is just a left brain, but no, it's a conceptual thing that is translated. Mathematicians, high mathematicians, they've had the MRI on them. They found it is one of the greatest whole brain activities. High level mathematicians, they get lost in their work because they're loving it, because while they're doing that, they're in that process, they're releasing all these hormones, oxytocin and all this, that they're in love. That's the hug, the love hormone, the oxytocin there. So it does that. Now, if you want to learn computers, take paperbark and get hold of coastal banksia, put the two together, and you'll learn very well about computers. If you're learning history and anything along those lines, paper, I want to write a book or whatever, take wattle and paperbark, put those two together, and it will start unfolding your talent, your ability. It's not going to, if you're not a writer and you start taking that, yes, it's going to have a bit of an influence. It will help in that way, but it's not going to turn you into one of the great authors. But if that is the way in which you're leaning, you want to write something, or writing is important to you, journaling. You want to journal about what you are. You want to release and let go. It will help in that regard.
Okay. So who are your customers?
They are the people that basically would like to move along in their development, their spiritual journey. Their understanding of self is probably the way I would best put it. Understanding who they are, because as we take these, it's an internal process. So everything that we discover about ourselves. And of course, that will involve other people and experiences. So star seeds. Coastal banksia is an absolute winner for them. I've seen on Facebook star seeds that say, I'm from another place, I'm from another galaxy, and I feel so disoriented here. Take this. It will assist in saying, yeah, I'm from there and I'm here, and it's okay to be in both, rather than just going, I have to be one or the other. It will help them. If the way in which these show themselves as to what they actually do is, one, the structure of the plant and where they're located. Coastal banksia is right on the verge of the foreshore on beaches. This particular one, not just there, but this particular one, the soil is kind of crystalline and sandy. That gives a connection with computers. You're right on the boundary of water and land. So it is about navigating. The candle, the light, the flowers come up like a candle. I did have a photograph of one somewhere. Anyway, so they come up like the candle. And when I first saw this plant, the song Candle in the Wind just popped into my head. And they're like little beacons. So we have locked within our astral field, our astral body, the signs of the zodiac. So you could actually wrap the sign of the zodiac around. Okay, so they're the gateways into which all these things take place and everything. Boom, you're out through there, you're in through there, and it lights up these beacons for us, which now means the energy coming from one area, they're like a relay station. And then they move through our meridians and our chakra and the pathways through us and into our consciousness. So that tree, so it's sitting there, it's very hardy. It can withstand difficult things. And one of the beauties of that particular one is you're feeling the emotions have got a hold of you. You've got to make a decision, or man, I've got to go do something. I'm frustrated or whatever else. Take this, and it will calm you down in a very, within 5 minutes. I've found that to be the case. I'm sitting there going, look at that. I'm rather relaxed. I'm in a far better place to make a decision now. There is another one, another of these, magnificent one. The second one I gathered, and third one I gathered, and it's called, geez, that's good. Rainforest eucalypt. There is a botanical name for it. It's an Australian eucalypt, and they are just thunderous trees. They dominate the area of the rainforest, and you get near them and look up, and it's like, and then I start to get really heady and nearly fall over. But these things are massive, and when I first came across this, I'd actually I went up the day before to collect another essence, and I could swear that plant was there. And when I got there, there wasn't a sign of it anywhere. But I found I was gathering another. I was there for a different one, and that was Pickabone palm, and it actually meanders like this. It grows along the creek lines and the water lines and everything else. And on this day, it was a meandering path. For 3 hours, I'm walking along these meandering paths, learning about this. The next day, when I went back, I'm doing the rainforest eucalypt, which is this massive, strong, tall, standing tree. I'm expecting, I'm going to be writing down, I'm going to be walking around learning all about this. No, I sat down on this seat for 2.5 hours and just wrote. Didn't want to go anywhere. Felt very, very comfortable. And you look at that tree, and that's what it does. It dominates the area. And it is the succession of nature. Grasses, various other things like that come in, they bind the soil, they hold it still. So little grassier, bigger ones come in, then some more shrubs, and then trees, and then these are the last. And they look over and they dominate, and they actually coordinate, because all these plants are talking to one another.
Right.
And they look out over it. So this tells us, all right, I've got a challenge before me. I've got work to do. I'm at school, and I've got an assignment, or I've got a challenge in my sporting life or my professional life or whatever else. Here it is. Yep, I'm capable.
That's awesome.
How am I going to do it? Simple. I'm going to do it as the tree does. That bit, then that bit, then that bit. Same way as it came into order. And that's what this one does. And it just slows down. For meditation, it's great. It helps predominate the theta rhythm. So all the rhythms will be working at the one time, but it will just strengthen the theta rhythm as soon as you start to go into your meditation. So it helps in that regard.
Awesome. Let's see. Do you recall a specific aha moment that led to the launch of your business?
Oh, geez. I would say that was...
That was it, right?
Sorry?
That was it. The story about the tree, right?
I think it was most definitely like pine cone. That was the first one that came to me.
Yeah.
The other two, interestingly, they were at Easter. The first time I went, the day I went for the second essence was on a Good Friday, and which was, I'm sitting there going, oh no, there's going to be a ton of people. It was up in a little rainforest park, and there's going to be a ton of people, and beautifully there wasn't. It was nice and quiet. I think it was probably that weekend where I realised, okay, there's going to be more of these. And I think the one that really nailed it was this element, grass tree. And that is I can't show you. Anyway, has a stem up like that. And this grass comes out like that. So I look at that straight away and I know that's crown chakra. The plant's telling you, I'm number one. I am the first. This is what I'm dealing with. This radio antenna that sticks straight up out of the plant. So the first time I went to gather that, I went to a place where I thought it is, and I go, I know exactly where these are. And I went in and had a look at them, and geez, they're not there. Bugger. I know there's some of these around, so I went walking. I'm walking down, and then it was almost like something had grabbed my neck and turned my head. And I'm just staring straight at two of these in the midst of all these other bushes and trees. I'm staring at two of these. All right, go in, collect. On this occasion, it was leave the site. Don't stay there. Come back later, which is what I did. All right, and I go, wow. About a year later, I had to regather, and I went to another spot. And I've done this so many times. I know exactly where they are because I chose this time because they'd been in flower. And I know exactly where they are. And I trekked for about 3Ks up these bloody hills and everything else. And I got there and there's not one, not one of them. Oh, no. I know where other ones are for sure. So what that told me was I had this desire to get them from there. I wasn't going to change my mind about where I was going to gather them from. So I went back to another place where I used to take groups through on walks and things. And that's the reason why I didn't want to go there. And I've got a history with that place. So I'd rather fresh. Anyway, so I go in. And I make the union with the plant. Boom. I'm like in this bubble 3 hours. That was the collection period. And it was like, this has to be presented to people. The capacity of these is just, it's different from any other form of essence I know. And they are alchemical. And so alchemy is very much the theme of now. And they really do. They transmute. I've been quite, if I could, pine cone, this little river. This one, an essence of this, is very much about blending the two aspects, the male and the female. And if you have a look on it, you'll see. But it's also about creation. You'll see the spirals that show up on here. So there's multiple spirals. So its main thing is that it'll bring about a balancing between the male and female energies, which means left and right hemispheres start speaking, which means the corpus callosum in the middle there, it's getting a little bit of a clearing and a logging out. So one of the things that I was sort of sitting there, all right, well, I'm using it. I'm going to blend the two. What did I find? I had more energy. I couldn't sit in a meditative cross-leg position for a long while. My legs, the hip, down the side of my thigh and knee used to really start to play up. And then I found over 2 weeks, this eased. It went entirely, and I can sit entirely comfortably and everything else. And it was sciatic area was little, and it was just locked up. It didn't work specifically on the physical element. It worked on the mental, emotional, and spiritual aspect that allowed that to free itself up. And what I found is, because these little spirals are telling us about creation, this has taught me so much about the order of our mind. We have, and just like the trees themselves, they're sort of set up in that fashion, concentric circles. You cut a tree and you'll see a record of their growing history, but also a record of everything that's taken place within that region over that particular time. Then it goes into the seed, and so every tree is a record, just like ourselves, has its record of history all the way back to the point of its inception on this planet.
Okay, we'll be back in just a moment. It's commercial time.
Worthy women who are of the righteous. The new book coming soon from visionary Chi Smith and Maisha Barnett. Devotional categories include business, grief, finances, health and wellness, relationships, parenting, mental illness, aging and caregiving, and so much more. Published by Barnett Publishing, featuring stories from Sister Sheree Jenkins, Sister Iris Wright, Sister Monique Pompey, Sister Jacqueline Rosier, Sister Sherelle Palmer, and Sister Erica Peterson. Worthy women who are of the righteous. Devotional coming soon. Audiobook produced by Angie B. Productions and narrated by me, the Queen Bee, Evangelist Angie B. Join the tour that Angie B presents as we head to El Segundo, California, March 17th and 18th, 2023. There'll be a pound cake tasting challenge, a 50-50 raffle, special awareness workshops, meet and greet the authors, and take home an autographed copy. For more information, search for the event on Facebook or call 407-914-6519. That's 407-914-6519. California, here we come.
Angie B has and her husband, girl, they got multiple books. Girl, if they fall down a flight of stairs, they write a book about it. They got if their daughters get dogs, they write a book about it. You'll see.
Contact us today at 407-914-6519. That's 407-914-6519.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back, Simon. Welcome back.
Thank you.
All right. So what really motivates you to jump out of the bed every morning?
Geez. Number of things. I get to find out more about these particular essences. What I've found is, so far, that's one of the things. The other is, it's just great to be alive, kicking around. Where I live, I wish I could show you. I look out currently, so I'm looking off over to my left. I'm looking to these hills in the background. They're only about 1 kilometre away, covered with trees. I just adore trees. I love nature. Like I go into the bush and my breath picks up and I get heady, like I'm getting dizzy and all that sort of thing, and I could just sit there for hours. At night, if I look over it, I'll see the sun setting and the colours, everything. It's different everywhere, I'm sure. But it just takes my breath away. And I go, man, I live here. I get to play here. I get to experience everything around. And over the last couple of years in particular, my appreciation, my love for this has just got deeper and deeper and deeper. And what I've found too is it expands that as well. I also, that little pyramid I showed you, I make the pyramids as well, and I love making them. Each one I make, I always, so they'll come as a kit form. They can be 60 centimetres in base, they can be 2 metres in base. I can pretty well make them size, but unfortunately only the smaller ones to send them overseas, it costs heaps, but there are other ways around it. Anyway, so I love making them. That fires me. And I've got 2 kayaks just sitting just on a rack over the other side there, and that often is my inspiration. I get on the river, which is about a 5-minute drive from here. I'll put into the water and I paddle, and I know because of the way I paddle, it's sort of like it's going to hurt at some stage. This paddling is not just out here drifting down the river and taking it. Sometimes it is, but other times because I like to do it, because I like to keep the physicality as well. And I know at times I'm going to be aching, but I go, man, I just can't stop myself from doing it. And even while the car's going, I'm driving in the car, it's like the feet are going, come on, let's go to the river, sort of thing. And I get on the water and it's just, beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So they are the main things that, and understanding, and then I find my understanding of me and who I am is also, there's certain things you're going to know about dream, but you're not going to understand them until sometime later when you're walking around. Quite often you get those aha moments, and there's that. And so I also energetic healing, but I haven't done any for quite some while, and I'm looking forward to, there's a change about how that's been happening, and so I'm interested to see what those changes are. So each day getting that and promoting this, and it's been a while. I've been hesitant, to actually turn the whole of this into a business, but that too inspires me. It's like independence, freedom. I have such great freedom moving around through here. My financial freedom doesn't quite match the level of my emotional, spiritual, and mental freedom. So I want to bring those things into alignment.
Hmm. Absolutely. And then what sets your business apart and what unique needs are you filling for your customers? First of all, I've never heard of this before, so I think that's cool.
All right, so there's many forms of essences. There's in Australia the crystal liquid crystals, I believe it's called. So it's all crystals that they've transferred the energy and the frequency into dropper bottles just like this, and you take them. The regimen for them would be 7 drops twice a day, morning, evening. These ones are different. So there are so many of them. Bach flower remedies, Californian remedies, Pelelandra, which are more so vegetable plants, the flowers of vegetable plants and everything else. And if you've got some viewers there, get a flower essence of tomato anytime you're been ill or whatever. After your illness has passed, take tomato. It will speed up your recovery. It'll move the crap out of the energetic field. Or you can take astral light, and it will do exactly the same. It will clear all these. How are these different is that they work at such a deep level. Their frequency, I was at one of these psychic fairs one time, and a lady came in with a pendulum. And she's just turned over and looked at me and she goes, I have never seen anything on this energetic level in essences again in my life. I can't remember the units that she used or said. She goes, this is in the order of 35,000. She goes, the best I've seen prior to this has been 8,000 to 9,000. So they are subtle. And the beauty is that they do a lot of the work. So, for example, with wattle, bringing out the childhood, you'll take the essences and then boom, you'll just have, wow, this took place. And it also gives an understanding of what the motive was behind it. It brings these out and then moves them through. So the beauty of this is it actually helps you do the work. It's not going to do everything for you. You have to be able to deal with what's going on, but it's not heavy. It just brings into your awareness. They will also be used not only for that, but we understand that a lot of illness and everything is related to the thought process and the feelings and everything else. And it will alleviate dyslexia is one quite often. That's more so an emotional one. That would be over in the abundance area. Although it seems like a mental thing, it's an abundance, and it is... what's that tree? Pick a bean palm. Follow your own path. These are, as I said, 9 essences, and with the elementals, 13 in all. The combinations, like I got about 21 so far. They are just going to keep on expanding. I already know of 3 more that I need to investigate. I won't speak about them until I understand them more. They are like the planet itself. They are evolving and growing. Well, that's what makes these unique. Liquid crystals, there it is. It's used this specific station. As you move here, you move there. The man that brought them together, it's essentially very much like the Kabbalistic tree of life. And this one goes here, 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 here. You go here, you go here, you go here. This expansion, they move like the universe. It's expansion, contraction. It is like the breath of life that we are. That's these. And it moves in and out, in and out. They build up, break down, build up, break down. Just as we breathe, we expand, then we exhale, we contract. Our body has anabolic and catabolic processes. Take in protein, we break it down to the amino acid. That's our breaking down, and then we rebuild it and we come back up. Expansion, contraction. Tidal volume, moving through the lungs, moving through the blood. That's these. They work in exactly the same fashion. They expand and withdraw, expand and withdraw. So what it also does is it teaches us about the seasons. These things bring us into alignment with the planetary actions right now. Each one of them is angelic. They have a connection with the angelics. And the one I was talking about earlier, grass tree, is very strongly connected to Sanat Kamara, the global logos. So it will promote, if I get combination of those ones across the top, it will promote your soul life, your soul expression. It will help you move back through the stream of the soul and clear your own lines, and also bring into understanding what it is. Yeah, wow, there's a past life. Aha. Wow, why is that relevant right now? What took place there? Because that's relevant right now. And if you become aware of a past life, no, sorry, not if, when, it's a realization that you're actually releasing something of that at that time, and you're stepping forward. So often when we feel, oh, geez, what's going on? It's actually progress. And these things are, like I say, the tree itself is this. So if you cut it in half,
Yep.
there it is. Well,
Yep.
there is the law of correspondence. If it is so in one thing, it is so in all things. So everything that have the same pattern have a same origin. The atom is made and formed in exactly this way. If we look down upon ourselves and we can differentiate the frequencies, all right, outer layer, inner layer, so on and so on, this is us looking down from the crown chakra. All we would see is concentric circles. Put that into a pine cone and expand that over a period of time, and you'll have a spiral.
Mm-hmm.
Solar system is put together in exactly the same way. These essences are a gift from the angelic realm that align us with not only ourselves, because this planet's going into a fifth dimension. We already know that there are other civilizations everywhere, and they've come here to support us. We're moving into that understanding, that communication on the greater span, not just in our solar system, but beyond. And these things bring us into alignment with that change.
Yes.
So if you have, for example, you want telepathic communication with extraterrestrial family, your star family, coastal Banksia, put it together with paperbark. Whoa, there's your soul family or your star family come together to assist you. So you're making your connection with these things stronger, and you're progressing the evolution of self, but all those that are around as well, or associated or connected with you as well. Like I said, I got about 21 in total. There's more to come.
Wow.
And they blow me away. Sometimes I'm a little scared. Oh, here's a beauty. Grass tree. There are no essences, flower essences. Now, in the book by Garudis that I mentioned earlier, they mentioned, a question was put forward and said, can I overdose? And they go, look, you can drink a gallon of this stuff, or you can take 7 drops. It won't make any difference. Your frequency, sometimes, you don't want to push too hard. 10 times a day isn't going to be any better or more beneficial than 3 times a day. But grass tree, it works on the crown chakra. You would only take that. Some people would only take it once a month. Some people could take it, say, once a week, but it works on the crown chakra. You don't want to overdo this one. But the beauty of it is, 2 of them, pine cone and grass tree, also have a meditation. So grass tree, you don't want to take it daily. But if you want the benefit of that, it actually tells you what the meditation is. And it is alchemical. So here comes down the line. Now, I've written this meditation out too, and I have it. 7 chakras. Vibrate the chakra, do the 7 all the way down to the base with the sound and the image that goes with them. And then draw everything up, burn it through the aura, take it back down to the feet, bring it up, do this 7 times. That is an alchemical process, which has also been mentioned in the Bible. Let the sins of the father be passed to the son for 7 generations. It will take that long to filter out. The processes of alchemy, 7. We have 7 days of the week. We process through each one of these. Each day has a different purpose. Day arises from both the Latin and Germanic terms of Deus, meaning God. They are gods of the week. Pine cone also aligns mind with the mind of nature. An angelic sigil, all right, so the shapes that you'd see, I should have better drawings, all right, I could find from the Rosetta wheel, something like that again, but that's a rough drawing. So that's the 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet.
Okay.
3 in the middle, the 3 mothers, 7 in the middle one, and 12 on the outside. We have 3 seasons: the hot, the dry, and the hot, the cold, and the moderate, which translate into our 4 seasons: summer, winter, autumn, spring. The 2 moderate, spring and autumn, reflections of one another. Summer and autumn, summer and winter, reflections of one another, opposites. All right, now our mind works exactly the same.
We're running out of time, so can you
Yeah,
can you this has been fascinating, and thank you so much. And I would love to have you on season 3. This is season 2. And so that way we can see how you progress, you've grown, and all of that. Does that sound good?
that sounds fabulous. Thank you very much for the opportunity to spend this morning with you, Wanda, and give me the opportunity to blurb away. Sorry, I got carried
did
away.
great. Yeah, it's very interesting. All right, thank you so much. And you
Thank
have a
you, Wanda.
wonderful day.
You too. Thank you again.
All right, goodbye.
All right. Oh, and bye to Auntie B.
Okay, Angie. Goodbye, everybody. We love you. Mwah, 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 mwah.